So many people have mentioned this. What do I do when Christmas comes around? Or birthdays, anniversaries, death anniversaries.
How do I cope? How do I communicate? What do I do?
I can clearly remember bad times for those firsts. He died in November. Christmas was the next thing.
How was that for you guys?
Just terrible. But it was so bad because no one knew how to deal with it. And it was like the elephant in the room.
We just kept on traditions as if she was there. Do this nice thing, eat this nice thing. And then it was like, I'm eating this thing, but she's not here.
When it comes to traditions, keep them, modify them, or create new ones.
Welcome back to another episode of Good Grief.
It's awesome to have you here, and we're pumped to be chatting today all things special occasions.
Yeah, excited for this one. It's a big one.
Holiday season coming up. It's currently, September? It's late September here in Australia.
It is.
It's almost the 21st of September.
So it's like school holidays here right now.
I was referencing Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh.
But jokes aside.
Does anyone else celebrate that Earth, Wind and Fire Day?
Maybe it's just Jethro, my best friend. So we want to bring this topic up because it's been widely mentioned. Like so many people have mentioned this.
Yeah.
What do I do when Christmas comes around? Or birthdays?
Yeah, how do I cope?
Anniversaries, death anniversaries. How do I cope?
How do I cope? How do I communicate? What do I do?
Yep. Those feelings of I don't want to celebrate the thing, but I have to, or I feel like I'm needed at this party.
Got
or
loved ones depending on me. Yeah.
Totally. But before we do, I
Yes.
personally want to thank everybody for the feedback we've been receiving in like the last few days alone since we launched the first snippets of this podcast. We see your messages and your comments, and we're replying to every single one as best we can.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing.
So cool.
So we want to say thank you.
And super helpful. So yeah, thank you so much.
And if you're tuning in and you've lost a loved one, the question for you today that we'd love to see if you drop a comment below or wherever you're watching this is, what is the next occasion coming up for you? Is it Thanksgiving? Or is it an anniversary?
Birthday.
Will it be Christmas or New Year?
Yeah.
Like, what's the next occasion that's approaching for you? And then hopefully today you can walk away with some practical stuff.
Totally.
I got a bunch of stuff
Hopefully.
noted down here.
Me too.
And
so we're going to go through a bunch and open up this conversation.
yeah, maybe let's kick it off with sort of our own journeys. We are, if you're tuning in for the first time, 11 years into our grief journey where I lost my dad, you lost your mum. And having this conversation, I can clearly remember like bad times for those firsts. It's a little bit different for you, I think.
Yeah, it is a bit different for me. Mine's a bit more of a blur because I felt like we did just carry on many traditions that we had already, because Mum was quite a celebrator, a traditionist, if you call her that.
So was my dad. He loved parties.
Sure.
And he was the life of the party.
Yeah.
So was your mum.
Yeah.
But different experiences.
Different experiences,
Super different.
which made it different
And
for us.
Probably because your mum passed of cancer and that was like a 7-year journey.
Yeah.
My dad was instant. One
So
night
it's
we're with him.
tragic.
Next day gone. And so it's like left to pick up pieces and then how do we deal with stuff? So there's a couple of things that separate both our situations.
Yeah. So we're in September now. Your dad passed in November. So was it Christmas was the first?
Yeah, it was Christmas.
Yeah?
Yeah. So November 11, 9th. The reason I confuse those, if everyone's like going like, how do you confuse? Because my dad's birthday is on the 9th of September, the 11th of September, but water spilled on his birth certificate when his dad was taking that through to get registered in Sri Lanka in the 50s. Like, this is a long time ago. And the 11 smudged and looked like a 13. So for the remainder of his life, he celebrated 2 birthdays, the real one being the 11th. The reason why I said the 9th is because he died on the 9th of the 11th.
So it's so confusing.
And
It's
for the Americans, you'd say
birthday's
11/9.
9/11, which is September 11.
Yeah.
But he died on the 9th of November, which is 11/9 or 9/11.
So if you think
However
I'm
you say
crazy,
it.
I'm not. It's just a lot of 9s and 11s. And then for Americans, you guys do dates differently to us. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Right? So yes.
So now we can laugh about
Let's
it.
just say he died in November. Christmas was the next thing.
Yeah. How was that for you guys?
Just terrible. Yeah, horrendous. We still did the family stuff. So we still did aunties and uncles and grandparents and things.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you didn't do any of that at all.
No, we did. And that was like we did.
Was that like a pre-Christmas and then on Christmas Day you did?
No, that was Christmas Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we didn't want to do any of that. Actually, it is a bit blurry. It may have been like the day after Christmas. We call that Boxing Day here. It could have been then. I still think it was Christmas.
Okay.
Have to confirm with Mama Bowles. But it was so bad because no one knew how to deal with it. And it was like the elephant in the room. Family, I don't blame them, for how it felt and how you could split the tension with a knife. They didn't know how to approach the situation at all. And so they thought they were doing the best they can, bless them, but we wanted out of there pretty quickly. So
Let us know in the comments. I'm sure there's a ton of you that can relate to that.
Yeah, not fun. And dad was life of the party and really brought family together. And so you're missing like the key to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it brings back a ton of memories and not good ones, but it's the way I look at it now is like it is just what it is. Since then, we are 11 years down the track. We've had much better Christmases, not the second or the third. It's taken a while, but yeah, not awesome. What about for you? Your mum died earlier in the year?
Yeah, March. So we first had her birthday.
July.
Yeah. And to be honest, I can't remember that specific birthday. I do remember first being more difficult than the rest. But I'm pretty sure we just kept on traditions as if she was there.
Right.
We would always, have something French because her birthday was a couple of days after Bastille Day, so that suited her just fine to celebrate her French nationality. And, she would always like to, go somewhere nice for eats and drinks. And
she sounds a little bit like her daughter.
Ah, you're welcome. Or she would celebrate for like a week. Who here is a week-long or month-long birthday celebrating? Like, it's birthday month. Mum was like...
Birthday month?
Yeah, birthday month or birthday week.
Yeah.
That was my mum. She was biggest celebrator.
But still not easy. Like, still celebrate. It's like pain.
Yeah, you would do
joy.
this nice thing, eat this nice thing, and then it was like, oh, I'm eating this thing, but she's not here.
I can remember food just being kind of tasteless.
Oh.
Yeah, not enjoying things that I used to enjoy. Like I'd still eat them, but just not finding like it just like was so low on what mattered to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, it was sad. Yeah. Even things like curries, it was nice to remember Dad with curries being Sri Lankan, but still early on, it wasn't the most enjoyable thing to eat,
Yeah, wow.
You made curry last night. It was delicious.
I did.
And now it's definitely got its meaning and its flavour back and all of those things, but not early days.
Good, I'm glad it wasn't flavourless. I put time into that.
Totally. So where should we go from here? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we'd like to dig into like some coping mechanisms. What people can do to like...
I'd love you watching or listening to walk away with like one thing, just one thing today. We'll probably share a bunch of things, but I'd love just if you ended this episode going, I could try that. I think I could just try that.
Yeah, I think that would work for me. Yeah.
I want to probably, preface the conversation by saying it's not everything to everyone. It's like one thing to you personally. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there's nothing on here that you want to try it all, and that's cool as well. Just hang in there. It's one day at a time.
Maybe you've tried it all already.
Yeah, maybe you have too. But yeah, hopefully just one thing. So I'll probably say it a few times. It's like, just lower the expectations on yourself. We've heard from a lot of you that like guilt and regret and those sorts of things come up.
Yeah.
Totally normal. But through my journey, at least, I set myself really high expectations. But if I was to do grief all over again, and go back 11 years, I probably would have just lowered the expectations on myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So want to give everybody that before we start.
Yeah. Cool. I think it's super important to also just acknowledge your feelings. Like, you're grieving. This is a special day, whichever day it is. And I think it's totally cool to just sit in your feelings, be aware of them, and do what you need to do to like feel those and not suppress them, because suppressing them can just lead to further turmoil.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you were tearing up.
No?
Already. Oh, well, your eyes are super watery. There you go. I was like, oh, I don't have the tissues today.
I know, we didn't.
They're out of arm's
Hopefully
reach.
I can keep it together, everyone.
I think that's a great thought. And sitting in your feelings, and then also doing something with them. So maybe it's like going for a run. Before I thought of run, I thought of like punching a pillow.
I know you still do that.
Yep. Because we don't have my boxing bag set up.
Yep.
But getting a boxing bag was really helpful. And like just physically letting those emotions out.
Yeah.
How else have you sat in your feelings or outworked them?
I think on the opposite end of that, just getting out old cards from my mum and letters and just, going through those and just reading her words. And
'cause that's really hard, but is that as a way to like bring that stuff up? Because sometimes you just want to cry and you'll put that song on, or you'll feel that or smell that piece of clothing again. What was that for you, bringing those cards out? Like, that seems like really hard and would just shatter me in those early days.
Oh, like totally. But that was just me allowing myself to feel.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And mum was like super thoughtful in her writing. So it was never just like, happy birthday, love ya, like.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty special point. And we don't write all that often these days.
Yeah.
If you do happen to have letters, from your loved ones, they're so precious. And, I just treasure them so much, even just silly little things, But coming to the idea of writing, when it comes up to things like special occasions, holidays, etc., an idea is to write a letter to your loved one.
I had that down.
There you go.
Yeah. Write a letter or a card as you usually would and tell them how you feel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, super good way to process.
Yeah. And you might just store those letters. You might give them to another family member.
You might post them.
To yourself.
Yeah.
Totally. It depends if you lived with them or not. Like if it was your spouse, you might post it to yourself. I don't know where I'm...
Post it somewhere random. I don't know. Just put a random address on there and see if it gets returned to the sender.
I don't know if that'd be the sweetest thing or the saddest, depending on how you wrote.
For someone to receive that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Could be one of those serendipitous things.
So writing things, yep.
Yeah.
Sitting in your feelings.
I also thought like people could make a memory box, with certain sentimental objects, like, cards and letters, maybe their perfume that they used to wear.
Yep.
Yeah. Scarf.
So a bit of a memory box or tribute type box.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of a tribute memory box that you can open up whenever you feel like you want to go back there and feel the things.
And there's kind of two types of occasions in broad sense. There's like the occasion where everyone's expected to get together, Thanksgivings, Christmases, birthdays. And then there's occasions that like aren't expected. So it's like on our anniversary, we don't expect everyone to come here unless we throw a party.
Yeah.
But generally we don't. We spend that time together. So if you've lost a spouse, as an example, like, and your anniversary is coming up, it's not a time where you're going to have lots of people necessarily around you. So I think depending on what the occasion is that's coming up, you just want to plan ahead for that thing.
Yeah, I think some of you might be capable of being around people. So you might just ask one friend to go out to dinner with you on that anniversary, just so that you're not sitting alone. Maybe that's not your idea of how you want to celebrate that day, being alone. But maybe you do. Maybe you do just want to sit at home and just let a few friends know, hey, maybe just text me.
Yeah, that was probably one learning or aha looking back that I could have done better, is just preempting friends before big days. Because, and again, coming back to expectations, it's like I probably expected people would just know that this is a big day, Father's Day, you know, Christmas, etc. But again, I don't blame people. It's like we're so busy looking after ourselves and thinking about our own families and so forth that, you know, it's rare to find those people in your life that really think about you more than them. So preempting them, and that might just be a text a week before, a few days before, like, hey dude, this is going to be a hard day coming up. If you could just send me a text on that day, or be open to a phone call, or up for a walk, or come over for a cuppa, go to a movie, that'd be really awesome.
Yeah. I think clear communication just definitely like wipes out and handles future misunderstandings.
Yeah. And you also won't get communication right, even when you do try your best.
Sure.
So, again, I'll say it a few times, just lowering that expectation, because it takes two people to communicate.
And people are humans and they forget.
Totally.
But I had a bunch of beautiful friends that remembered years on years on years who were just, I was so surprised every year. I'm like, wow, you're still texting. Like on Mum's, I think it would be her anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whether it came up on
Death
Facebook, death
Yes.
anniversary, whether it come up on a Facebook memory or whether they just knew, or whether I posted something and that triggered them, whatever. But they just, I was like, wow, it's so
Special
beautiful.
people, hey.
Yeah. And it really did mean a lot.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And that's something like, once you've experienced it, then you like want to get better at being that for somebody else as well. I know that's a conversation we've been having. On the planning ahead side, I think another thing in terms of, like we've mentioned already, traditions or tributes, etc. They're like, you may have had traditions that your family did every time that birthday or that Christmas came around, and it might be too painful. So there's like three things you could do with that tradition or that ritual. First thing could be like you keep it and you continue to do that thing. Maybe you went to a certain beach and had a picnic.
Yep.
Maybe you went to the movies on that day, or
You cooked a certain meal.
Totally. You might want to keep that tradition. And, you know, as a family or a couple, you might vote and like, oh, yeah, do we want to keep that or not? So keeping traditions, totally cool. Often hard, because there's just so much pain attached, especially early years. So I think you can bring that tradition back as well if you do want to put it on the shelf to start with, and just know that in the future you might bring that back.
Yeah.
Second thing would be that you modify the tradition or the ritual.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, put a bit of a different twist on it.
Spice it up.
Yeah. So, I don't know, on the cooking front, maybe you cooked a certain meal. Maybe you cooked that meal for somebody else.
What's my tradition for Christmas that I've recently twisted up?
We do cinnamon scrolls.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I started baking cinnamon scrolls for breakfast. Because we would always do croissants in our family. But,
That's just a new family tradition.
I thought it was time to create our own family tradition. So
yeah. And so, I was going to say, if you died, I don't know if I'd keep that tradition or not. It'd be so hard. Right?
Maybe I'll have to teach you to make the cinnamon scrolls by yourself.
So modifying your tradition
Yeah.
is the
Is another
second thing.
option.
Yeah.
Yep.
The third thing is to create something new.
Yeah, just kill it and try something else.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Oh, yeah, sorry, everyone. No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Ditch it. You might
Ditch
say
it.
ditch it. Yeah. Put it on
Still
the shelf or
iffy.
whatever and start a new tradition or ritual.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special as well. So we got 2 more sleeps. We're off to Sydney
Yeah, yeah.
and we're going to climb the Sydney Harbour Bridge,
You.
which we learnt is
34.
134 metres high.
I was going to ask the crowd.
If you're around the world and you've never heard of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Google it.
Google it.
What are some facts we know about it? It's the largest,
Steel bridge
Yep.
in the world?
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
His mum did a little trivia for us the other night at family dinner.
And so this is a new tradition, and it only started maybe since you've been around in our family, 3 or 4.
Maybe the year before.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah. 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, that mum would buy my brother and I for Christmas some form of adventure present, like a gift card to an adventure.
Yeah.
So we've climbed the Story Bridge in
Brisbane
here. And then
with the kayak tour.
Yeah.
And then we've been up to Binnaburra and we were like staying in fire lodges up there. And
Fire lodges.
Fire lodges. Lodges with a fireplace.
Yeah. So that's been a pretty cool tradition.
Yeah.
One that like we get to explore somewhere where we're active, and it gives us time to, reflect and have a bunch of fun as well. And
But it also gives your mum something to do.
Totally.
She loves planning, and that's been a huge part of her grief
Totally.
journey, to keep herself busy and active.
it's a great point.
Yeah. So that she loves planning things. She loves getting in the details and
Yeah, and so maybe if you're supporting someone who's grieving, finding out what really makes them tick and, getting them in on planning something for that thing could be really, really helpful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been massively therapeutic.
yeah, huge
Mum.
for her.
Yep, she can just invest so much of her thoughts and just get engrossed in that thing.
Loves researching
yeah.
and all the details and
Totally.
planning bit by bit by
And then
bit.
it builds new memories as well. Mm-hmm. So we've got photos that sit on, in her lounge room and so forth that we did it the other night. We're like, oh, wow, that was our last bridge climb. We're going to get new photos like this coming
Yeah.
up. So when it comes to traditions, keep them, modify them, or create new ones.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
the 3 thoughts there.
So good.
What else have you got?
What else have we got here? Plan ahead.
Yeah, so that's what we've been talking about.
Well, yeah.
Planning ahead.
Yes, okay. But I think just to touch on that furthermore, that, the more you plan, the more you will succeed. I mean, not over planning, like you said, to put the expectations super high and put all this stress on yourself.
But having a plan at least does lower, anxiety and, I think just as humans.
The more you plan to your capacity.
Yeah.
You might be like I said earlier, someone who needs to have people around them. So you'll want to plan things and have things in your schedule to keep you busy. But you might recluse and you might just want time alone. So whatever that looks like to you, planning ahead, thinking of what you want, and then making a plan around that and communicating it.
Yeah, because one of the things as humans that we need is certainty. It's the need for certainty. And so we might not have certainty around how we'll feel on the day or the emotions that might come out or et cetera. We can at least have certainty in, I've got some form of plan and I'm going to do my best to work through some of these things. When it comes to, I guess, those big gatherings or occasions, I'd say like have a backup plan in place. And that might be like having a safe word with your loved ones or sort of a
thing, like squeezing their hand. Like, yeah, that's what my aunt and uncle have.
Yeah, they squeeze each other and that's like, let's get out of here. Right?
It's like, I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. So you could have a safe word like, jelly. It's like, I'm just feeling like some jelly right now. And then everyone knows it's time to get out of here.
Because that's something you always feel like.
I do feel like jelly. And then maybe it's like not leaving the party or the thing. Maybe it's just like finding a space and taking a book with you or a set of headphones where you can literally just tune out. And again, communicating with people and just going like, hey guys, I need to step out of here. But I don't want to leave because you might want just that noise in the background, people around. Just go sit on the couch and just tune out. I think having those things is a bit of a backup plan.
Or if you
Helpful.
have like something that you're invited to, which you'd love to go to, but you're just not sure that you could cope by yourself,
Totally.
get a buddy.
Oh,
Like a plus one.
Yeah,
like
I was going to go, yeah, you could get a buddy or you could say no.
You could totally say no.
Yeah, getting used to being okay with saying no is really healthy.
Or you let them know, hey, I'd love to be there. Just so you know, this might be really hard for me. And so I might not stay for the whole thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just again communication.
Totally.
Yeah.
Setting some expectations.
Yeah.
Friends are going to love you.
Yeah.
And the more that you share how you're doing, they'll understand.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's pretty good for...
Communication and planning
Yep.
and all of that.
I think, well, communication, there's probably a fair bit. We've talked about some of that. But pre-notifying people, again, is probably a big one. Just coming up to those things. Saying no, we've already said that. What about tributes?
Yeah.
So I know your brother made one.
Yep. My youngest brother.
Because he got married in, was it in July?
End of June.
June.
Yeah.
Right. And mum passed in March.
But this is Brandon. Not
Right.
Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So years later.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Chris might have, but
Because your mum died and then there was a Hawaii wedding
yeah.
how many months after? So it was March and July, is that right?
No, March and April, 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crazy. That's
Yeah.
wild.
So
Okay, so
I can't.
eldest brother didn't make a tribute. Youngest brother did years down the track.
Yeah, like 6 years
Okay.
later. Yeah.
What was that like? What did he do?
Yeah, he well, maybe it was 4 years later. He had a table at his wedding, like a tribute table to mum. Yeah, with a picture of her and some candles.
Where was it? Like, I've never seen anything like that. So, like, was it at the altar? Was it at the reception? Or did it move around?
It
or
wasn't at the altar. It was at the reception. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be weird, eh?
And here's mum.
Yeah. That's actually interesting, because when it came to our wedding, we definitely felt pressure or expectations
To do that.
to do certain things to like honor our parents at our wedding. But like we had to sort of reframe the conversation that...
And other people helped us reframe that, I think.
Right. Well, it was kind of like, bottom line was like, today's actually about celebrating us.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to honor them because they meant so much to us and led marriages that we look up to and aspire to. But it's only just coming to me now. Like,
Yeah.
I remember going like, surely you're doing this and inviting them because of this person. And we're like,
Actually, we're not.
yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But we do want to honor them. And so we did in our speeches. And there was just, I guess, an overall sentiment of mum and dad being there with us and plenty of people bringing that up in conversation, which was beautiful. I didn't go as far as like photoshopping dad into any photos.
Not yet.
Not yet. I could. We could shock a few people with those.
Yeah. For our
Yeah.
5th anniversary or something.
But I guess that's an interesting one. Like what other people expect of you about your loved one on those days.
Yeah. And I think on weddings, I can't remember, I could be wrong, but I think from my memory that my dad, because it was 6 weeks after his wife died,
This is your,
my
6
oldest
weeks
brother's
after
wedding.
And your eldest brother's wedding.
Yeah. That he might not
I've gave a speech.
have given a speech.
Right.
Like he might not have been able to do that.
We'll have to check that
And
one
so
out.
I'm pretty sure my uncle did it instead. So again, that's like
Totally.
Getting a buddy or getting someone to fill in
like
for
a
you.
sidekick.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it might just be you're standing up there, but the other person's reading your speech or holding your hand or whatever.
Fully.
Yeah.
I remember we were down in Sydney. I took you to see my granddad.
Pop.
Yeah, Pop. And he's now 98.
Yeah.
So it was only a couple of years ago. And I sort of said to him, you know, he's seen 3 of his kids die in his lifetime. He's gone through divorce. Actually, yeah. Divorce. Saw his, you know, his wife, his ex-wife die, my nan. And then 3 of his kids.
Yeah.
And he survived all of that.
So hectic.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey.
Yeah.
And to speak at 3 of your kids' funerals, like, no one should have to be put through that.
No one should have to do that.
But I asked him, I just said, you know, Pop, what's been a lesson that you can teach me while I'm here, you know, that's helped you through to 98 or 96 or however old he was at that time? And he said it like so quickly and so succinctly. It was just focus on one thing each day and achieve that thing. That's it. And you just stack those things up one after the other. I thought that was so beautiful.
So not one same thing every day, but one different thing?
Yeah. What's a simple project or task
that you can just get done
each
today.
day? Yeah. And know that the day was a win. And in the early days of grief, that can be as simple as like putting the rubbish out. Could be
taking a shower.
Yeah. Yeah. Collecting the mail.
Yeah.
You know, changing the bed.
Going for a walk.
Yeah. Really, really simple things. And I think that comes back to sort of maybe a planning ahead part, but also probably delving into other topics as well.
So did you guys ever have any tributes for your dad?
I think nothing specific.
Didn't have a shrine at home or anything like that?
No shrines. I'm not laughing because, you know, shrines, you can do whatever you want.
Some people probably, and that's totally cool.
Totally. Things were sentimental, and so we kept them around. Photos, you know, model
Heaps
cars.
of photos you guys have.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then Mum and Dad own a workshop that was like car sales and service, and so, you know, just his signage inside we never took down.
Yeah.
You've seen that. And it had his mission statement on it. And
which was?
He was on a mission since 1955. And so those sorts of things, I guess, we kept. You know, they weren't traditions, but we kept them. We didn't modify them or change them. And they're still special to this day. But nothing really in regards to special occasions or so. Yeah. I think of, and everyone listening would relate to, you think of your loved one all the time, you know, and things that remind you of them. Songs, smells, sounds, activities, people, those sorts of things, which are the day to day, but then it comes up and those big days sort of approach.
And we recently cleaned out that workshop and found some cool old stuff that we put back up on the walls, and we also threw out a lot of things that, you know, were no longer needed to be kept anymore.
Yeah. And so, side note, you don't have to clean that stuff out immediately. It's 11 years down the track, people.
It does take time.
Yeah. Hey, this has been cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to know from those of you who've tuned in, what's one thing that's been helpful or just made sense, or something that you might just try from today's chat.
Totally.
If you could just drop that in below.
I'd love to know.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And if you're not hanging out with us already on Instagram, come hang out at Good Grief HQ. Or if you're looking for more community and hearing from other people's stories and being around people that can support you as well, come join our online community on Facebook. It's called Good Grief Support Group, and you'll find us there as well. The links should be all down below on this episode.
Yeah, I'd love to see you there.
Until next time, it's been fun hanging out. Be blessed.
Big love from us.
Big love from us. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Ciao.